Welcome to Football or Soccer, the podcast. I am Sam Palmer.
And I'm Tony Tafe.
How are you, mate? You good?
It's been a good weekend, mate. It's been a good weekend of sleeping because international football was on.
I know, yeah, it's a bit... Yeah, I will get into that. Before we start, though, I want to start with a giveaway. We have got a signed Jared Bowen shirt on the West Ham shirt that they won the Europa Conference League in, courtesy of our friend Stoey. Stoey is on Instagram at StoeyX, master of memorabilia. But this is really, I suppose, I know he scored for England this week, Jared Bowen, but I think to mark that, obviously, I think this is probably a West Ham fan's dream, this one. To win this shirt, all we want you to do is subscribe to the YouTube and leave a comment and a 5-star rating. And that is all you have got to do to win this shirt. And we'll do some updates in the week.
They're now going to a draw, won't we? Everyone who does that will go into a draw.
That's it, and we'll pick one. The last winner won the signed Gaza shirt. This week it's Jared Bowen. So if you do that, you go onto YouTube, do that, we'll give that away next week. So good luck to everyone. And I suppose we've touched on it, international football. So international break happens. It seems more often than not now. Seems like every couple of weeks we have an international break these days. I think football fans dread international break. How do you feel?
I hate international breaks. I hate them.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse. The football fans who I think enjoy these international breaks are the proper England fans. Like, they support England almost as much as they support the club, which is not most football fans, let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it might be different in different nations.
Football fans. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most English football fans don't support the country over the club.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People will say, because you're from Liverpool and everyone in Liverpool hates England and that nonsense. That's not what it is. I just can't remember the last time I watched an England game when I was excited about it. I can't remember.
Other than tournaments. Tournaments are different. I think we both support England in tournaments.
Yeah,
but these are glorified friendlies. It's basically, it reminds me a bit of like pre-season. It's kind of, they're not real. No one cares if they win or lose. England are in a Nations B league that, with no disrespect to them, but Ireland, Greece, these are teams that they should be pumping.
Exactly. But there's more jeopardy than a friendly, though, because there's injuries at stake here. Like,
for the
Curtis
clubs.
Jones started the 2 games for England, Greece and Ireland. If he would have got injured, I would have been furious.
Yeah. And I think we've seen that on this international break. I think there was about 8 players that pulled out of this, which I think was a bit tactical by the clubs. I know Declan Rice didn't go. He's usually always there. Saka.
He's got a broken toe, though, Rice, hasn't he? He's got a broken toe.
But let's see if they're back at this weekend. Because
he had to come off against Chelsea, though.
Yeah.
He had to come off. So I think his injury's genuine. Same with Trent Alexander-Arnold. He had to come off. Apparently he's done his hamstring. I think that's genuine. Who else came out? Who else dropped out, I mean? Saka did.
Grealish was in there. Saka was out. Yeah, Saka was out. There was a few big names out. And look, it gives other people a chance. Be honest with you, I really don't care personally about England friendlies. I do love them in the tournaments. I'm not the biggest England fan. I think my love for West Ham, and you're probably the same, my love for West Ham's too big to love England exactly the same. So
it's impossible.
I like
impossible.
I do like the tournaments. I think they are fun. But I think these. What do we learn? Look, Lee Carsley's come in, had a few games. He's done well, I suppose. Overall, Greece game, it didn't work. He tried a few things. New managers coming in, so there'll be a bit of excitement for that. But I find international football now, and I think this is probably why I don't love watching it as much anymore, is pretty boring. And I think probably because you
It's
play
mate.
loads of these friendlies against so-called inferior opposition that I suppose I heard Lineker saying it yesterday. It was obviously the breakup of the Soviet Union, the breakup of the Balkans. So lots of lesser teams have come from these countries from when his days were playing. And he sort of said his smallest game that he probably played when he was playing, this was probably what 80s, 90s, was Turkey, which is actually quite a big, like a good footballing nation.
Yeah, that'd be a big game. That'd be a big game right now. England, Turkey would be a big game.
But England, Greece, England, Ireland, like the San Marinos, etc., they're not as big nations anymore. Iceland.
Well, I mean, Ireland obviously has its own thing, right? England,
Yeah.
Ireland has its own thing. But I don't think either of us. I watched the second half, but I don't think either of us watched that yesterday. We just didn't care.
I didn't. I was glad to see Jared Bowen scored. I was glad to see a couple of people got debuts. Great. But did Tuchel learn anything? I find this way of playing now, this possession-based football that everyone's so obsessed with now, I find it so boring. Like, and I do think it's Pep's influence that's become.
It definitely is, yeah.
And I saw Bastian Schweinsteiger give an interview a few months ago, and he said Pep was the worst thing that happened to German football in a whole. He said, great what we did at Bayern Munich. He said, but the national team lost its identity because we all started to try and play like Bayern Munich at the time.
Mate,
and he said, and we forgot what we were.
Sunday league teams try and play like Pep now. Like,
Yeah.
forget the national teams. That's long gone, and maybe when Pep does actually go, then I don't know. Maybe there'll be a different style that comes in. But even Sunday league teams now are playing, are trying to. They got some lad who's in goal who doesn't want to play in goal. He's just the biggest lad in the team, and he's trying to roll it out to the right back or the left back or whoever. It's bananas.
Do you think
bananas.
England can win? Obviously, look, our thing is we've got to win the World Cup. We've got to win a Euros, right? We've got to win a trophy. That's kind of Tuchel's next job is to do that. Is his whole MO.
It's his only job. Yeah.
So, do you think we can do that by playing a style of football that we're probably is not associated with our nation? Because I would say Spain are much better at that. They're taught it from birth, basically. And it's not really what we have grown up as a nation. Like you think a lot of Spanish team would come from Barcelona and Real Madrid. So a lot of them been to La Masia and them areas. They're much more technical nations. Italian football, more defensive. They're taught that way. They play that way. Whereas we've kind of got this mishmash. And now we've got a foreign coach coming in who is going to have his own style and own way of playing. Do you think that hurts England as a whole?
No, not at all. Because we talk about Spain and their style of play. That hasn't always been Spain's style of play. You know, they curated that. That was very intentional what they did. And I remember after, what year was it when they won? So they won the Euros and then, they won the World Cup and then the next Euros.
Yeah,
2-8, 2-10 was it?
2-8, 2-10, 2-12. They won
whatever it was. Whatever it was. I remember all the newspaper articles because that's back. I mean, I pretty much lived in the UK still then, so I would read the Sunday newspapers, and I remember reading articles about how they put this plan in place like 15 years ago to play like this and for everything to. So no, I don't think it'll be bad for England at all. They just need to figure out what they want to do because they've tried. I mean, Gareth Southgate, I still couldn't tell you how he played. You know, I know he did well.
He did get us to 2 finals
He
And
did better than
Tuchel
anybody after Alf
basically
Ramsey.
has got to go 90 minutes better than Southgate. That is it, right? So that's basically his whole thing is he has got to, which is a very tough job because Southgate, whatever you thought of him, etc., was he too defensive, too hesitant? He got us there, and we lost 2-1 to Spain.
He got us
we
close.
Lost
He didn't get us there.
Penalties to Italy, so he couldn't we're penalty kicks away from winning a trophy against Italy. That's that close.
I mean, it was really close, but he didn't. There was no line crossed for England. They didn't win it. End of story. I'm not saying like if Southgate would have got knocked out on the quarters every tournament, it would have been different. He probably wouldn't have even made it to the last tournament he did.
No,
but he didn't. He did what they need in Tuchel, which by the way, I actually think they might have, or I should say, stop saying they and start saying we. What I think England have in Tuchel is somebody who knows how to get over the line. He's won the biggest stuff, and Southgate
against
never
Manchester
done that.
City.
Against City,
He won the Champions League against City, which was a big thing. Now, I just want to come back to you said about Spain's plan. Now, let's not forget, and we got to say this: England also had that plan with St George's Park, right? So
I
they
know
spent a lot
exactly.
of money, and they said our coaches are we're gonna coach in a certain way, we're gonna do everything, and then they've gone and hired a German manager, which it does say that their plan hasn't gone right. Lee Carsley's come in, let's be honest with you. Lee Carsley has done a good job, we'd say. But I do think most basic managers could do a good job with a top nation. Like they can get them through these friendlies, they can get them qualified. It's very hard not to qualify for a tournament now with the extra teams in it. Most nations pretty much pick themselves in a sense. There's always one or two that you're going to say, oh, I think he should play and he should play, and I think we had that in the World Cup where all the top pundits couldn't even agree on what the team was. So there is always that, but we've gone for a German manager over that money that we've invested for British coaches.
I think Lee Carsley bottled out a little bit because when they gave Lee Carsley they called him the interim manager or whatever they called him, I think he was front and center for that job when he did that. But then he started saying weird stuff, didn't he? He started saying...
Well, it was after the Greece game when he lost and he played like a team that he tried something that didn't quite work.
He tried something different, which,
Palmer, Foden, Bellingham, which we all wanted him to do. We all wanted Southgate to do.
Exactly,
so he actually did it, and he actually proved it, Southgate right a little bit. But I think probably, because Tuchel was announced the week after that, I think he was probably told he wasn't getting that job before that game.
Well, maybe, but I also saw an interview with him when they said, are you after what you said? Because what did he say? He said the England manager
hopes his job's available.
But before that, though, he said the England manager is somebody who should have won the biggest trophies, and I'm not there yet. Essentially, he's saying I'm not ready for it.
Tuchel was coming in. I think he
well,
knew.
But he also said after that, though, he said, no, I didn't know. And whether he was lying,
Yeah, I think he was probably lying.
I don't know.
He was
maybe,
and I think he wants his job at the FA. I think he's probably auditioned to be the next England manager. I think after Tuchel.
But his interview where he said the England manager should have won the biggest trophies, etc. He's not going to be able to do that with the under-21. So when he comes back, or if he comes back and is the England manager, the first question that's going to be asked to him is, well, wait, 3 years ago you were saying that the England manager should have won the biggest trophies, and you haven't. So
I wouldn't be surprised if a Premiership club takes a punt on him, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. And from all accounts that I've read, he seems like a really good coach, Lee Carsley.
I'd actually like to see him go and get a job and be Tuchel's assistant. and work
Maybe.
the two
Yeah.
jobs.
Good point. Yeah.
And then, so you're still giving him that. You're saying this is going to be maybe our guy. There might be someone else that comes up, Eddie Howe, because I do think I heard, and it was they kind of said they knew this for sure, that Eddie Howe was never even approached about the England job, which is actually I think disgraceful. But I think England reacted quick. 'Cause I think Man United were going to take him. And they were worried that they were going to take him. No,
Tuchel. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I think Man United were probably sniffing there, and England thought we're going to have to act quick to do it because he's not starting until January. So it wasn't that they've let him have his little time off. But I saw this before, and I actually agree with this because in world football, like for example, the Spain manager who just won the Euros. No, none of us know him. I still couldn't. I actually apologise. I couldn't tell you his name.
Even know his name.
I don't think you need a top name manager to be an international manager. I really don't, because I look at people like Chris Coleman, for example, who done wonders with Wales. Yeah. And Gareth Southgate, I'm going to put him in there. Not a top name manager. Got 2 finals. These are not top managers that do international football. Yeah. I think we've gone down that route of a big name with Capello and Sven, and it didn't work. And I wonder if this is going to be exactly the same again. I really do.
I think it is. And I don't think this is a recent thing, by the way. I can't think of a big name manager. Who's the last big name manager that won something big on the international scale?
Mancini with Italy. I just thought of it there. But Italy, I think, had come off the bounce of losing on a terrible run when they. They hadn't. They've been on a great run coming in, and then since then they never qualified for the Euros.
They dropped off. Yeah, they dropped off.
But was Mancini at the top of his game?
I mean, it was post City and everything, wasn't it? But I don't think these big managers even want to deal with the international stuff. I mean, it's a part-time job, isn't it? The international stuff is a part-time job.
Do you think? Because I don't know if it was Roy Keane that said it, but could you have, let's just say Pep, could you have, let's say Pep's the manager, but he's only going to come in for the tournament and have his assistant running it or Lee Carsley running it for all the qualifiers, etc. Obviously, they'd have to be on the same page, right? The manager's going to say, look, this is the way we're going to do it. This is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. But I'm going to help out a bit, etc. And then just bring in a big name manager for the tournament and actually say, right, this is what we're going to try. No one's ever tried it. Would it be a problem?
I mean, it's hard. It's not like it's never happened before. Alex Ferguson did it, didn't he? When he was Aberdeen manager, he managed Scotland. Yeah. Didn't do too good though. Didn't work out too well for him. No, but you're with Scotland,
so it's a very different, side to England or France or Spain, etc. I think it's a very.
I don't think so. Is what I would say, and I don't think it couldn't work for England or most big national teams. I don't think it couldn't work for them. But I don't think a club would allow that to happen. Like, actually, you know what?
That probably is it.
Yeah,
let's just spin it back. Like, and this is soccer, for example. If you've got the England manager as your head coach of Manchester United or Man City or something like that, great marketability as well. To say we've got the England manager and the champion of the league, and he's the England manager,
and they like a bit of that,
so there's a good marketing.
I just think for the club, like if it was the Liverpool manager and Liverpool had a couple of bad results before or after an international break when the manager's bouncing around the country doing other things, I don't think it'd work.
It would only work if you're not losing.
The nations, exactly. For the nations, it'd be fine. For the club management these days, even though I used Alex Ferguson as an example, what he was doing day to day with Aberdeen is probably very, very different from what Pep Guardiola is doing day to day with Man City right now.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think so. I don't think so. But if I
Well,
would also imagine if Pep Guardiola said, "I'll sign another 3 years with you, Man City, but I also want to go manage England." Obviously, completely hypothetical.
maybe
I
that
think
would be
they'd
a
say
difference.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
do I, because I think they don't want to lose him. Exactly. I want to move on because we're going to have a quick short break, and then we're going to come back with the news that Pogba could be back. See you in a
Oh,
minute.
Paul Pogba.
Welcome back to Football or Soccer. We have got the big news this week from himself that Paul Pogba, his doping ban has been lifted. So he served his time. I think he's now, Juventus have torn his contract up, and now he's effectively a free agent again. Now, I've got to say, it's really made me laugh this week. I think it's a lot of self-promotion, but the amount of people, even my sons said to me this week, because of obviously TikTok and things like that, Pogba's back. He's going to go and play for Real Madrid. And I just sat there and laughed, but I'm thinking, is this guy the... Do you... Obviously, I think it's March that he can come back. Do you think this guy is going to any sort of club? Is anyone going to take a chance on him? Or is this the biggest self-promotion you have ever seen?
He'll go somewhere like Saudi or maybe even to the MLS. There's
Well, he's
no
training in
way
Miami at the moment.
with Inter Miami.
I think on his own. I think he's training on his own in Miami. So for people that don't know, Paul Pogba, French international, World Cup winner, was in the youth team of Manchester United, left for free, went to Juventus, then was bought back, done very well in Juventus, won the World Cup with France, then was bought back to Manchester United for something like 90 million, and
Yeah.
mixed reviews. I'm not going to say he was awful there, but I think he
United?
probably cost managers their job.
I'll say
I
he
think
was awful. He was terrible.
yeah, he didn't live up to his price tag, that's for sure.
No.
And became, I think, more known for stupid hairstyles, dancing on the pitch, being a clown rather than being a good footballer. I think he effectively cost Jose Mourinho his job at Manchester United because I don't think he could work with him. And now he went back to Juventus for free. Manchester United, he let the contract wind down, I think. He went to Juventus. I think he was injured in that first season. In the last, I think, 3 years, has played something like 6 games. So
yeah, he got a big injury, didn't he? As soon as he went back to Juve.
Yeah. Has played 6 games, been given a doping ban, which he was banned for life, I think, and then they've rescinded it to an 18-month ban. So
No, I think he was banned for
5 years or something.
Yeah,
6.
Yeah,
so it was effectively his career.
Essentially his career. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
But he was terrible at United. Appalling at United. I never saw him have a good game. Did you? Can you remember? Apart from, I saw him have a couple of good games for France. I cannot remember him having a single good game for Man United when he was there. Not one.
No, I'll be fair because I don't like Pogba as a player, and I think what I'm hearing at the moment on Instagram is the most ridiculous things, but it's coming out of his mouth, a lot of it.
Yeah,
and he's had a go at Wayne Rooney this week.
Great as well, you know.
Yeah, he's had a go at Wayne Rooney for saying something, saying he got it wrong.
He has? What did he say about Wayne
Rooney? Was, I believe, I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe Rooney said on a podcast that he came into the dressing room after they lost or something like that, and him and Jesse Lingard were dancing or doing something, being idiots.
Okay,
and he realised that Manchester United, I think, was on the wrong track there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Pogba said, Wazza's talking like bullshit, and he's not he don't remember it, I remember it, and all these things. And he's doing, but I think he's trying to say Wayne Rooney's trying to make a name off his name. Now, let me tell you, Paul Pogba couldn't lace Wayne Rooney's boots. Now, so he But I think this guy, I'm seeing him talking about he wants to play at the top level. I bet he does. But I wonder.
So do I.
Because Pogba as an asset, a marketing asset, is a big thing. Now Pogba
though,
would
do you
still
still
sell
think
shirts. Yeah, I do, because the fact that my kids, and the fact it's the Instagrams, again, where kids follow players, and actually some of the comments, if you go on Paul Pogba's or any of the clips that he's put out recently, the love for him is actually insane. Now, this is a dope cheat.
Where does it
the
come
guy's
from?
just been caught doping as well. So I know he says he didn't know, he didn't this. Listen, that's here nor there. No dope cheat's going to say, yeah, listen, I knew what I was doing, and I was trying to cheat. So no one's going to say that. But ultimately, he's dope cheat. And now he's talking about playing at the top level again, and he's having a meeting with France and things like that. Now,
how old is he now, Sam?
31.
30.
Do you think anyone, and I actually think some clubs might be fooled by him, And I think someone
I don't
might
think they'll
take
be
a punt.
fooled by him. No, I don't think they'll be fooled by him. I think there might be some clubs that say, you know what, this fella he's available on a free. He surely cannot command top wages now, surely. Maybe there's a club somewhere who says, we might be able to make a little bit of money on this fella. He'll be here for
Let me tell you who two of these club signings could be.
Go on.
Because it reeks of them. West Ham and Tottenham. That is the exact clown these two clubs will sign.
I don't know.
Oh, we've got a name. We've got a name for the fans. West Ham. I think West Ham would jump it if they could. We badly need a midfield, but I think he thinks he's better than that.
Well, I mean,
I would not be surprised to see West Ham linked with him.
If he's saying he wants to play at the top, then he's talking about five of the top clubs in Europe.
Without doubt, and I think he believes it. I do think you're right. I think he's going to end up in Saudi or MLS. I think that one of them will give him a big contract to be out there, and he can go and poodle around and actually dance on the pitch, dye his hair a different colour every week, and it'll actually go with the theme of the league. So it's,
you know what Pogba reminds me of is a better Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, he's the same. Look, another guy wasted his career. Now he's out in Korea playing football.
Is he? Yeah, is he still in South Korea?
South Korea, who on earth has ever heard of South Korean football? No disrespect to it.
Because he went at the start of the season, didn't he? Or just maybe even the start of last season. I don't even really.
Yeah, he didn't have a club. I think Forest let him go.
After he left Forest, yeah.
Yeah,
and then
Forest
I saw that he was getting booed off the pitch, or I might be misremembering that, but I saw essentially he wasn't playing very good, even over there, Lingard. And so Pogba.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it weren't going well at the beginning. I think he's actually their captain now, which so he should.
Oh, is he?
But look at what a waste of a career for that boy.
What a waste.
And that kind of, I think them two really highlight part of the downfall of Man United. I think that's where it started, really going downhill. I know a man who wouldn't be happy to see him back, and he's come out with his own stupid comment this week, is Graham Souness. So Graham Souness was always a big, not hater of Pogba, but I think what it was, a lot of pundits were very frustrated because there was a very talented boy in there. He wasn't. He wasn't a really good player. I think they wanted to get it out of him.
Because Souness obviously was on Sky when Sky when Pogba played for Man United, and every week he'd just lay into him because most weeks United were obviously on Sky, and since then I can't remember who the interview was, but somebody said, what was your problem with him? And he said he was so much better than he showed, and it drove me insane. Because there were stupid things about Souness being, just giving him, being more hard on him because of the color of the skin and all, ridiculous
Yeah,
things
which
like that.
that's I don't that's
Bananas.
complete rubbish.
Of course, yeah, of course, it's absolutely completely rubbish. But he said no, he was way better than what he showed, and I can't accept that. And
I agree, and I think
that
Roy
was what it
Keane was
was.
very similar with him as well.
Yeah.
And but Souness to himself this week, or in the last week or so, has come out. I saw a comment yesterday that on the Simon Jordan podcast, I think it is, where he said Arsene Wenger is not a footballing man. Now,
Yeah,
I've
this
got
was
to be
a
honest with
couple
you,
of
I don't know
weeks
if he's
ago,
losing
yeah.
his marbles a bit, but I love Graham Souness. I actually had the privilege of
Yeah.
having dinner with him once with my brother-in-law, Jay.
Oh, you did? Is that right?
Yeah, and I've got to say, an unbelievable man. Like, a real man's man. He was with his wife, and I always remember he pulled this chair out for his wife, sat down, introduced himself. And I always remember, he asked me a question. He asked us who we were, and he said, "What do you do for work?" And he asked the question, "Do you like work?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. I love work." And he went, "Good man." And I could see in his eyes that it was almost like, I'm okay to talk to you now because I respect you. And he never spoke about himself once. He had no ego, anything like that. I've got to say that one interaction I had with him, I think he's a proper man. But
I'm
this
glad
week,
to hear
that
that,
comment of Arsene Wenger, I don't know if he's gone for a few clicks or something like that, and just thought, I'm going to antagonise it. Maybe don't like him, and I think Suey would
Maybe, yeah,
would have a go.
I think that's what it was. I think for some whatever reason because he did mention, didn't he? Like he didn't get invited to the office after the game for the wine,
Yeah.
which was customary with managers in the English league. I think that's probably what it was. But very very quickly going back to you meeting him, I'm really glad to hear that because I've never had that pleasure of meeting him, but he's always been him and Kenny Dalglish have always been Liverpool for me. So I'm glad to hear that he was great, but that was a wild thing to say. Like how can you say Arsene Wenger?
Arsene Wenger is, if anything, he's probably the most pro football person ever. Like, he still works at
He's doing some wild
now.
stuff with this World Cup, though. The Club World Cup is not his, but he's heavily involved in this Club World Cup. Arsene
What do
Wenger.
you think of this Club World Cup? I don't really know. It sounds like a complete waste of fucking time to me. And again, another glorified friendlies pushed together to be something that it's not.
It does sound like that, and that may be what it is. And the first couple of times I heard about it, I was like, because the Club World Cup right now, Liverpool won it, I don't know, 4 years ago now. I barely cared.
Oh, so it's been going on a while then?
No. Well, no, it's a different format. So they have the Club World Cup right now, where they have each winner of every continent go and play each other in Brazil. It's usually somewhere in South America. But this is a completely different format.
Oh no, yeah, that's the. Sorry, I know what you mean. That's like when you win the Champions League and whatever you go off.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. That one I get that one. And do you know what? That's funny. I think in England, I think in Spain, Super Cup. That's what it's called. In Spain, etc., they take that as that's a big trophy. We don't. Yeah. I don't recognise that trophy whatsoever. That Super Cup. It's like English fans don't really care about it.
It's like
do
the
they?
Charity Shield, isn't it?
That's exactly it.
The Community Shield, they call it now.
Yeah.
But no, this Club World Cup in the new format that's going to happen every 4 years. Essentially, they're trying to make it a literal
World Cup.
A Club World Cup, literally, yeah. Every 4 years. I'm assuming it's going to be over the summer.
Is that what it's going to be? It's going to be every. No, it's in America. So it comes here. This Club World Cup is in America.
So this is how much we care about it. We don't even. I didn't even know where.
I only really saw about it this week because I thought it was when they said about it. I actually thought it was like what they do in the friendlies every year. Like they put together like 5 teams and it's called the the Audi Cup or whatever it is, and they do some friendly.
Right,
I thought it was that where Liverpool, Arsenal. I didn't realise that this was actually a bit of a serious thing. This is why Pep's going so mad about the extra games, because what a waste of time this is. And
well, also we spoke last week about Atlanta beating Inter Miami.
And Inter Miami are in it, aren't they?
Inter Miami are in it. I don't think Atlanta are.
No, they're not. I don't know how they've chosen the teams for it. I don't know what the qualification was for it.
If you got Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Busquets playing for you, that's how they've chosen it. Yeah, but I mean, listen, I thought it was ridiculous, and I actually still think it is a bit ridiculous because I won't care that much about it. But if it takes off, I think we were talking earlier about how much I don't care about international football anymore unless it's a tournament. I care much. If Liverpool win it, I would probably care a little bit more about it. I'm not really gonna care whether they win it or not.
It's not really a qualifier. I don't know. Like, how do you qualify from it? You just chose.
Yeah.
I worry. It's the start of the end. They've put all this in now. It's more games.
Start of the end of what?
Of seeing our leagues moved around, seeing games being played overseas, which I think is definitely going to happen. But I think it's this sort of stuff. We're bringing it to America more. The Americans want it. So basically, the money's going to get bigger for those teams that are in it. So City are going to get more money. Is there any other English teams, or is it just City?
No, Chelsea.
I don't know. We'll find this out and have a look on, because I've literally paid zero attention to it. I saw one thing, and it was only because I saw a graph of a layout of it, and I was like, oh wow, this is a big tournament. I thought it was going to be 4 teams.
I know Chelsea are in it.
Chelsea. So exactly. So how does Chelsea qualify? Because they've got an American owner.
No, well, I'm sure they helped.
They won nothing.
So the Liverpool, but they won the European Cup. When's the last time they won the European Cup? Chelsea.
Years ago.
It was under Di Matteo.
4 years ago? No, Tuchel won it.
No, sorry,
League.
yeah, you're right. But, sorry.
But that's 4 years ago.
Right, but I mean, but
so
the
basically,
whole thing is
it's a load of old
include
bollocks
as many
that they've
people
just,
as you can.
So basically, what they've done is they've just chose the teams, American owners or whatever, things like that. They've got together and said, right, let's do this. We're in it, but Arsenal are not in it, or like etc.
Yeah.
We're finishing 8th. And we'll be in it. And so
it's
it just
a
makes a
commercial.
farce of the competition again.
It's a commercial exercise, but we might need to double check this because I'm wrong. But I was listening to TalkSport while I was driving into the office this morning, and I think I heard Simon Jordan and Jim White. That they got that breakfast. It's not a breakfast show, is it? It's like midday show. And they said, and I may have heard this wrong because I was laughing when I heard it, that the cup is named after Infantino, the FIFA president.
Sure.
Like the Jules Rimet Cup.
Yeah.
Not. Well, I was doing like 5 different things at once, so I may have misheard it, but I thought maybe it was just in a press release or something like that. I don't know, but either way, it's not something we can take seriously until it becomes an actual competition. Like, listen, we take the Champions League really seriously.
Big, huge, big. But let's remember, everyone protested about Super League, and now we've got a big tournament. Now, great, I'm all for it, and I'm sure Liverpool will be. City playing more games, great. It's going to start affecting the performances on the pitch, and I think we're already seeing it with the games because there's more players getting injured. The games are shitter. I think football.
The games are not as good. Yeah. I mean, unless you're a Liverpool fan, then the games are fucking great.
Right, we're going to move on, and we're going to answer a couple of questions to finish off the episode. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to Football or Soccer. We are now going to answer a couple of your questions that you've sent in. So we've got 3 questions here to both of us. I'm going to fire off straight away with, who are the worst fans in the Premier League? I will ask you that first, Tone.
Oh, mate.
And you can say for whatever reason.
Chelsea are the worst fans in the Premier League. That's the
Why?
first one that comes. So when I first left school, how old were we when we left school? 15, 16, right?
16, yeah.
I used to 16. So I used to go home and away with Liverpool for about 3 years a lot.
Yeah.
And you'll appreciate this. A lot of away fans, what they used to do, because obviously the home fans get a little tiny corner of the stadium, and then
Yeah.
you've got the away fans next to you the side. A lot of the away fans, what they used to do, because it was Liverpool, they used to wave money at us.
Yeah.
Which, I'll be
Because
honest
anyone who
with you,
doesn't know, Liverpool are absolute brassic up there. Which means they ain't got no money. They're poor people,
yeah,
disgusting people up there.
yeah, sure thing,
I'm
yeah.
only joking, Scousers. I love you, really.
So the first place I ever went to that ever did that was Chelsea. So Liverpool were in do you know what game it was as well? It was, remember that game when
I
Robbie
would think
Fowler bent
Liverpool
over in
Chelsea,
front of.
wouldn't it?
Well, remember the game though when Robbie Fowler bent over in front of Graham Lasso?
In front of Graham Lasso, yeah.
It was that game, and there was all these, and I'd never seen it before, and I was like, for a minute I was like, what, why are they doing that? And they were all waving £20 notes at us.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it's a good one. It was funny, and then
I mean,
a couple of weeks later, I went to Leicester, Filbert Street, the old Leicester.
Yeah.
And they were waving money at us, but they were waving £5 notes.
yeah. Leicester's
And I was
not
like,
as wealthy
okay,
as Chelsea.
that's the difference. That's the difference. But,
Yeah.
I'd never liked Chelsea fans. I mean, me and you've got a mate who's a Chelsea fan, and he's fine. But I've just never liked Chelsea.
I've got a few mates at Chelsea, actually. To be honest, Chelsea don't bother me. I think for me, I've got to say, Spurs are the worst fans ever.
Yeah.
I find them laughable.
That's the least
I read an article
surprising thing
on the
you've ever
Athletic.
said.
I think Spurs are some of the most deluded people in the world. Like, I have got good mates that told me Harry Winks is a better player than Declan Rice. Then it was Oliver Skipp. Then it was the next centre-back, Davison Sanchez. They're all useless, these players that they say are going to be the next best. Everyone they sign's the next best. They are, honestly, it is brilliant watching them. I do think they'll win something one day, and it's not even that, but I just think their perception of the club is... I saw this, there was an article in The Athletic this week, and it was about Ange Postecoglou, and I actually went to the comment section, and there was this essay written by a Spurs fan saying...
in the comment section?
Yeah, and it's what nails home, and I actually just looked at this one comment, I laughed and I walked off. It said, like, Ange Postecoglou is exactly what's wrong with Tottenham at the moment. We are a team that should be winning the league. And it was, as soon as I read that, I went to the next comment and it said, "You are one deluded bastard." He said, "When should you ever win the league?" And that summed Spurs up. But I've got to say, as much as I think Spurs, they make me laugh, things like that. But I think Arsenal fans get away with it, and I think they are almost as deluded as Tottenham fans. All right, Arsenal have won things, but that Arsenal fan TV, I think, are some of the biggest plebs I've ever seen in my life.
Who's that fella? Who's the fella?
I don't even know their names.
He does the overlap as well. They've
become celebrities from actually talking the
yeah.
biggest load of rubbish ever. Mm-hmm. They've become celebrities for it. And I'm sure they're not, and actually I know they're not a representation of all Arsenal fans, but Arsenal fans have been giving it, we're the ones. And listen, we're West Ham fans, we're massive, so I do get it. But they are starting to become, I think Arsenal get away with being called Spursy, because I think Arsenal are one of the biggest bottlers in Premier League history.
Well, who was it? It was Carragher, wasn't it, who come up with the Spursy thing, or was he just repeating something else?
No,
that was the first time I've heard it.
Coming, for years.
Oh,
it's funny,
yeah.
So I think they're my two. Chelsea, yours. I'm gonna roll these through quick.
Go on.
The next question: worst away ground you have ever been to?
Worst as in the shittiest or
Whatever
just
you think.
experience? Chelsea again. Chelsea.
I quite like
Chelsea.
Stamford Bridge.
I remember the first time I went there, I was probably 16, and a hot dog was like £12.50 when I was 16,
Yeah,
which
I
was
suppose that
50.
proving the
But
point with
actually,
the
no,
old
which
money
was
for the
25 years
Scousers.
ago. Yeah. And the
And no
program was
doubt you
like
were all stealing
5.50.
there, you fucking animals.
Shut up, you dickhead.
Yeah. The
No,
but
so it was that. But I just never enjoyed it. However, I will say this though, leaving Stamford Bridge and driving
oh,
through central London, it must have been Saturday afternoon kickoff when we were
yeah,
driving in the winter, because I remember driving through central London, and it was nighttime. It was dark outside, and driving past Harrods. It was the first time I'd ever seen Harrods or anything like that, and
yeah.
it was the first time, honestly, in my life I thought I need to move out to Liverpool. It was. I remember the exact same moment. I just thought, wow, there's so much more than at home.
Yeah.
So my worst and also probably my best as well, because it had such an influence on me.
It's funny because I live in Chelsea in London. So I've got a Chelsea fan friend. And when I'm there, Stamford Bridge is 5 minute walk from my house. So when we go back, a mate of mine always says, "Do you want to come watch a game and things like that?" So if I'm around, we'll go and watch
Do
a
you
game.
like Chelsea?
I no, I don't dislike Chelsea. They're not.
Sounds
They're
like
not.
you like them, mate. It sounds like
We've
you're a
never
closet
really been in
Chelsea fan.
conflict with Chelsea. There was the
West
Lampard
Ham?
time, really. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're not like. I
And
mean, we're
Paul
not. We
Ince
haven't
and
competed. No, Paul Ince never played for
oh,
Chelsea. He played
sorry,
Man
Paul Ince
United.
is
You idiot.
United. Sorry. Yeah.
But Joe Cole, Frank Lampard went there, but Joe was never a problem. It was more Frank, a big thing about it. But I've got to say, away day at Chelsea or Fulham is a blinder because it's a nice area. So a lot of like for people who haven't travelled around England, if you're listening from abroad, a lot of the away days are complete dumps. They're like in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere, like horrible places, and you're like,
Did
oh
you ever
God, I've got to
go
go
to
there.
Filbert Street, Leicester?
Yeah,
Did
I've
you
been
ever
to
go
Filbert
there?
Street. That was,
So
as you say.
you had to walk through two hollowed out terraced houses to get into the away end at Filbert Street. Like
That was
that
Luton
was
was
the
exactly like that.
turnstile.
Luton's that as well.
Luton's still like that, I think.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like 25 years ago, but I think, yeah, Luton's still like that.
I don't know what my worst ground is. I've got to say, it's funny because we always get beat there, and I'm going to say it just off the top of my head, but it's not that I hate it. Brentford, I'm going to say, because it's a new ground
Yeah.
with no character, and you have to walk around a housing estate. It's all like new flats as well. You have
And
to walk in
Brentford
there,
is
and it's
not
kind
the
of,
most charismatic
there's
place,
nothing
is
there.
it?
There's like, there's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
around it. Well, flip it then. What's your best? What's your best away ground that you go, I quite like this?
Mate, that's much more difficult.
Or what's your favourite
Do you know?
to
Do you
go
know?
to?
You know what? I used to love going to Goodison Park.
It's an
I
old
used
ground.
to love.
It's got the
It,
pillars in the
yeah,
middle,
and
isn't it? Where you have to move
it's
on either
it's
side of
yeah
them.
yeah yeah it's probably the only, or must be at least one of the only Premier League grounds that still has that. But Goodison Park is it was always always really difficult, obviously, to get a Liverpool Everton ticket, because Goodison Park's
Yeah.
like 30 something thousand, and maybe 3 or 4 thousand away tickets. So a lot of the time I used to sit in the Everton end,
Everton in. Yeah.
but obviously, and people, for anyone who's not familiar, people used to have that the impression of Liverpool and Everton fans all standing next to each other, like,
Yeah.
hugging each. It was never like that. When I could not wear a Liverpool anything Liverpool
Yeah.
whenever I went to at the home end at Goodison. But Goodison is a proper ground. I like Villa Park as well. Again, for the same reason.
I like Villa Park. I've left
proper
Villa
ground.
Park up before half time before.
Why? Oh, because
Yeah.
you were getting
Because we were getting
smashed.
beat 3-0 and I left after about 25 minutes and drove all the way back home. Just had enough. Just went, I'm going home.
Yeah.
I think my favourite in recent years has been Bournemouth. I loved it.
I've never been there.
It's a tiny little ground.
Yeah.
Good little atmosphere. You're close to the pitch. It's like one of them really, really old grounds you don't get to go to anymore.
How many?
When we
What's the
went up, we
capacity
won.
there?
Must
Like
be
20 something?
12, 15, maybe it is, but I don't think
It's
it's
got to
even
be
that
more
big.
than that.
It
Really?
feels smaller. It's a really cool
Yeah,
little ground,
yeah.
and also they're quite nice people. So like you're not gonna have any trouble there. And then there's like nice little fish and chips around. Like, I like the little day out a little bit. The other one
I
really
hear the same
enjoyed.
about Brighton, you know. I hear the same about Brighton.
Brighton's
People
same.
love
They're
going to
nice
Brighton.
people. Fulham's an amazing one for an away fan because the away fan, you go on, there's the Thames is behind the stand. So you stand behind the stand and have a beer. And it's like an old ground. And that's a really nice one. And then obviously when you come out of Fulham, there's lovely pubs, restaurants. And so it's quite nice.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. And I really loved Nottingham Forest, which I went to. Actually, it was their first game back in the Premiership. They beat us 1-0. But their fans were really, really amazing. I thought they
Forest
were really,
are a
real
proper
football
football club.
proper team, and it was one of the
Yeah.
only, because West Ham fans, when we go away, we're quite nasty, I would say, and there can be a lot of trouble and things like that. But Forest, I'll explain. I went with mate Addy, and we went in this pub. It was Hooters, and it was Forest and West Ham fans sharing the pub, and everyone was mingling and having a chat, and it was quite nice. And because there was no animosity between the clubs, and it was like, oh, I hope you do well this year, and you know, like they were really genuinely nice people that you couldn't have had an argument if you tried. So it was. I like Forest as well, but
That's really different from when
that's our
Liverpool
rundown.
go to Forest. Really different. Forest and Liverpool hate each other. Well,
Oh,
actually,
really?
no. Do you know what I would say? Forest hate Liverpool, but most clubs hate Liverpool, don't they? Most teams fans hate Liverpool, but Forest, they have a weird hate for Liverpool. Maybe it's back when we were both winning European cups in the 80s
Yeah.
and all that. Well,
It's a
even
weird one,
earlier
isn't it? It
than
must
that.
be Brian Clough or something like that.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I don't
Must
know.
be
I don't know.
something.
But they're a proper club. I like Forest as a club. They're a proper club.
We're going to finish up now. I've been given a bit of more controversial one. Was David Beckham world class, or was his marketing ability more than his playing ability? Now, I think this is an absolute stupid question. I'm going to
Do
answer
you?
it first for what
Do
I
you?
think. Yeah, because
I don't
David
think it's that
Beckham
stupid.
was completely world class, and I think he's the best crosser of the ball there's ever been in British football.
I can't disagree with that last part. I can't
He
disagree
was
with
one
that
of the
last
hardest workers. Yes, was his market. David Beckham, for people that don't know, was really the star.
part. Everybody
of-
knows, mate. You don't need to
Of
explain
the
it better.
no, I mean
Everyone
his
knows.
start. Like he played for Manchester United. He won the leagues, Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
He played in different countries. Alex Ferguson, the Manchester United manager, got rid of him because he was getting bigger than the club, and he was one of the first ever players with this marketing prowess. His wife was a pop star, Spice Girl, and they were this iconic couple, still are now. But he paved the way for the likes of Ronaldo, the Pogbas, etc., by showing you can have a commercial side off the pitch as well as being good on it. But I actually think, to this question, David Beckham is one of the most underrated players of all time. I think people think of him more for marketing than they do for a player, and I think he is one of the best players of his generation.
When you say one of the best players of his generation,
In his position, in a right wing, I don't think
this
there
is
was-
this is actually may take a little bit longer than we thought, because I think this is a really interesting subject where I don't think there's a
I think it's
definitive
so
answer.
cut and thing. I
No.
think you've got a Liverpool hat on.
Okay,
and
so
you're going to say Beckham
no,
weren't
no,
good enough.
no, mate, no, not at all. I used to hate Beckham when he played for United I hate any
Yeah,
player who
which
plays for
is
United.
understandable.
But since then, I mean, since he left, I like Beckham. I've warmed to him as a player, and also what he's done, outside of his playing career is amazing. But so no, you're wrong. There's no bias against them. I just think it's almost a shame that his celebrity has overshadowed his playing ability.
I will go as far to say that I think I look at David Beckham as playing for Manchester United, and then I think the rest of his career may not have been as good because of his commercial success. So I'll caveat that with that, because look, he went to LA Galaxy very young,
Yeah.
and he came out,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was,
yeah.
and this was MLS was
Too
not
young.
a league before he came. I think he was only about 27 or something when he came here, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I
think he was
old
28.
at all.
I think he was 28. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then he went off and he played for in the breaks, went back to AC Milan, he went to PSG, he went all different places because I think he realised shit. And so he took that gig to be. So I completely agree. Was his career as good as it could have been? But he did play for Real Madrid, Manchester United, PSG, AC Milan, LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
he played for some top clubs and he won the leagues in different places.
Yeah, and when somebody has played for all of those clubs, I mean, they're five of the biggest clubs in I mean, LA Galaxy aside, four of the biggest clubs in Europe. How can somebody play for all of those clubs and not be world class? Because of their marketability, is how. I mean, I'm not. So when he played for Man United, him and Ryan Giggs. There was Roy Keane. I mean, they had a million great players.
They were the best wingers in the Premier League.
Yeah, and and I think he's the best deliverer of a ball that the Premier League's ever seen. I think by quite a bit. I actually think the only person who's close to him is Trent. And then Trent isn't as good as him.
And I still don't think he's as good,
No, he
and
isn't
Kevin
as
De
good as him.
Bruyne, them two are
true,
very similar.
yeah.
But I think,
I
don't think as a crossing a ball.
Yeah, how long was he at Madrid for? Was it 4 years? I think it was 4.
He won the league once, didn't he? But he kind of got bombed out a bit. He was in and out.
Yeah, because
he got back in the
Capello?
team.
Capello bombed him out, didn't he? And then
anyway, he won Capello the league because he brought him back in, and then they started winning, and then they won the league, didn't they?
Yes, correct. That was in his last season, I think, at Madrid.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's a shame that his marketability, as I say, is almost as
so
straight.
big.
It's bigger than his football ability, but his football ability is almost diminished by it. I just don't think there's an easy answer for it. I think he's probably the best right winger. I think he's the best English right winger or right mid, whatever you want to say, ever. I think he is. Yeah, I think so. But would he get in a Real Madrid team today? Would he get in a Man City team today? He wouldn't get in a Liverpool team today.
The answer is they don't cross the ball like that anymore.
So exactly. True.
Teams don't cross the ball now, so it's very
different. Yeah.
He'd probably play centre midfield now, where he did play for Manchester.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. He
famously played there in the Champions League final, I think, in '99. Actually, he played.
He played quite a bit. He played quite a bit centre midfield.
When he came in, he was a centre midfielder, wasn't he? He was a 10 on his back, wasn't he? And then he went to 7. But so I think in today's game, he would probably move inside a little bit more, and actually because his passing ability was just insane.
He was just never the fastest, was he? He was not a slouch by any means.
He wasn't a winger that beats you. No, he wasn't that.
Yeah,
kind of
he wasn't a Ryan Giggs type winger.
No.
Or a Mo Salah type winger, or
no.
He was more of a De Bruyne type player and more of a Trent type player. Like Trent's not the fastest either, but obviously he's a defender, so it's a little bit different. But he reminds me more of De Bruyne than any, I think, player in the Premier League right now. Just an absolute
Yeah,
with the
I'd
ball
go
at
say that.
with the ball at his feet. There was very few better.
Yeah, I agree. And on that note, we are going to finish up today. I just want to make a quick reminder to everyone that there is a giveaway this week for a signed Jared Bowen shirt, courtesy of Stoey. So you can find Stoey on Instagram at StoeyX. And all you've got to do is you've got to subscribe to the YouTube channel, give it a 5-star rating, and follow us on Instagram, which is Football or Soccer Pod. And then you're going to go in the draw to win the shirt. I've already given away the Gaza shirt. And good news for us, Tone, is football is back this week. So we've got Premier
Good news
League
for us
again.
is no internationals until March 2025.
I'm struggling to watch
that.
it this week because I'm in Vegas for the Grand Prix. So
When?
I'm
This weekend.
this weekend. I'm going Thursday
Well, I'm also.
till
When do you get back?
Thursday to Sunday. I'm coming back Sunday,
All right,
Sunday
well,
morning. So I'm going to be watching a
I'm-
lot of
I'm in-
reruns on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm in Mexico City, so
you-
there might be a little scheduling conflict there, but I'm sure we'll figure something out.
We're going to get it back. Don't worry. Well, everyone, have a good week. This will be out hopefully Tuesday morning in the UK, Monday late night in the US if you're hearing it. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, folks.